Hey, everybody, it's Chris Mahan. Welcome back to another Lead Team podcast. As you hopefully know, this summer I've been doing two additional series. One is called After the Cap and Gown, where I'm talking to workforce professionals, students, and whatnot to help parents and young people know what to do after they graduate. The other series, which I'm going to talk about today, is called True Parental Leadership. I've got a couple great guests already on this series. I've got more lined up for the rest of the summer. And I think I'm going to take both of them well into the fall because I'm getting some really awesome people lined up to come on those two podcasts. But today I don't have anybody, so it's just me. Now, I have been watching the news for the last several years on all of these school shooters and what's going to happen to parents when they don't heed the warnings, mental health warnings, school warnings, law enforcement warnings, just general behavioral warnings of their kids. And then their kids go out and do something as heinous as a school shooting, or now we have the, what do you call them? Teen takeovers, right? Where kids are going out and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And a couple of sheriffs down here in Florida have said, if you don't take care of your kids, we will for you, and we will prosecute them. And that is what's happening in Tampa and Polk County with, all the things that have been happening down here. The sheriffs are saying enough's enough. And I think that's going to spread across the country as this continues to grow. Now, a couple years ago when I was writing my book, all right, I was writing my book. Yep, here it is. I was talking about the school shooting in Michigan, Oxford, Michigan. And the reason I spoke about that one so intently, along with some others, but that one in particular, was because that was the first case where the parents were then prosecuted for the crimes of their son, and they're both doing time up in Michigan, as well as their son, of course. Now, why was this so significant outside of any other parent that had a school shooter? Well, in this case, the prosecutor in Michigan said, you know what, we've got to look a little bit deeper. How did this kid get the gun? How did this happen? How did we miss the signs? Because previous to all this, it seemed like dating back as far as Columbine, parents were missing the signs. Schools knew things were happening, law enforcement knew things were happening, but somehow parents just, we don't know what's going on with our kid. So that prosecutor in Michigan said, you know what, we're going to go after them. And they won. And as a result of that, I said, I bet this is going to set precedent for future cases. I'm not a lawyer, but it just kind of stands to reason. A couple of years ago, in 2024, March 4th, it happened again, this time in Georgia. Now, the case with this one, much like the one in Michigan, is the parents knew prior to this that their son, but in particular the father, knew that his son was off, was mentally ill, was not all there. I'm trying to be nice with the words that I use so I don't, insult anybody. But the fact is, the dad screwed up, the mom screwed up, and as a result, their son was screwed up, and he killed 4 people on that day. But the next question is, well, how did this kid get a gun? How did the kid in Michigan get the gun? Well, just like in Michigan, the parents gave him the weapon. I think that was the true root cause of the prosecution going after them, was that you gave your knowingly mental ill son a weapon in an environment for the last 20 plus years where school shooting is rampant as speeding down the road. It's just like everyone wants to do it. It was just a big thing. Let's go kill people. Let's give our kid a gun. Let's, our kid's messed up. Let's give him some, ammunition, no pun intended. And they did. And the dad in Georgia just found out his fate for that the other day. He's now serving 15 years in a Georgia State prison. A couple days before that, on the 28th of July, his son, who was 14 at the time of the shooting, he's now 16, he received life in prison without parole. Now, what really struck me was, I've got the article right here, what really struck me was the judge told the dad, you failed your son. Your home life was so dysfunctional, was so messed up, that you failed your son. And as a result of that, 4 people are dead. A community is devastated. A school is devastated. Your son's going to jail for life or prison. You're going for the next 15 years, all because you didn't do the right thing as a father, as a leader. You gave your son a weapon. Now, some might say, wait a minute, I had a gun as a kid. We used to go deer hunting. We did all these things. Okay, 40 years ago, we didn't have school shooters. And yes, I grew up in Michigan and then moved to Georgia, and we had rifles in the backs of trucks because when school got out, kids were either going to go deer hunting or they were going that morning and then coming to school. So we had rifles on the property. Never a problem. So it isn't the same today as it was 40 years ago. Kids today are not the same. Society's not the same. Social media has added just fuel to the fire. But what hasn't changed is the need for parents, and particularly dads. Dads need to step up. Now, there's a lot of really good groups for dads. I'm seeing a lot of awesome things for dads to do this. But when you have a father who knows that his son is having problems, and we know this because a year before this shooting, the sheriff's office showed up at the door and said, hey, we got this notice from Discord, an app, that your son is making threats to go shoot up a school. They go to the door. Dad says, wait, he knows better than that. Let me go get him. Kid comes out. Dad comes out. Sheriff's there. Dad says, hey, is this true? He says, oh, no, that was somebody else. I got hacked. Typical story. Even knowing that, as a father, you should say, let me dig into this because, maybe my kid is, lying. Maybe there is something going on here. So with any ounce of parental leadership or just normal common sense, one would say, let me look at your phone. Let me look at your computer. Let me see what you're getting into, because these cops didn't just come here for no reason. There has to be some sort of reason they just happen to knock on our door. He didn't do that. So this dad, what's his name here? Colin Gray, who's now 55, decided that it was a good idea to give his then 14-year-old son an AR-15. An AR-15. I'm not against weapons. I'm not against guns. A gun is it's an object. What I am against is giving a weapon of any kind to a person that is not mentally well. And when you have a home that in a parent-child relationship that isn't well, and you give them this weapon, and the police warned you, the sheriff's office warned you, they told you, hey, we've got this report, they can only do so much. The fact that he only got 15 years, the dad, they only got 15 years in prison is shocking to me. He got charged with murder. He got charged with this conviction on murder and involuntary manslaughter. I wouldn't have given 15 years. If I was a judge in this case, I would have given the father life. Just like the son. Go sit together. Go do your thing together. You both ruined all these lives, knowing that you could have prevented this. So when the judge was in talking to the son, when he was sentenced, he admitted, hey, your family was screwed up. You came from a horrible place. And for that, we can't change it. We're sorry. However, you still took the action to go kill 4 people. Therefore, you're going to go to jail. And the judge even said, I've never sentenced a juvenile, a minor. The judge was just as shocked by it for the kid as anybody. The dad is, sitting here so shocked. Oh, what happened? Gee, maybe he is upset his kid killed people. I would be. But the fact that you as the dad, you as the head of the house, Despite your relationship with your ex-wife and his mother, you had custody of this kid. So 15 years to me, not enough. Not enough. He'll probably get out in 10. Good behavior, overcrowding, appeals, who knows? He'll probably get out in 10. He should be in prison for life. Now, if he gets life, maybe other parents, specifically fathers, will look at this and go, Michigan's a good example. Georgia's a good example. I don't really want to go to jail. My kid has some problems. Maybe I should sit and figure this out as a family. Maybe I should step up and be an actual leader and a father to this kid who's got issues. Maybe I should get to the root cause of why he's feeling upset, why he's going on these apps and making threats and drawing things. You should have seen the pictures. The kid in Michigan was drawing these demonic pictures, people getting shot, blood coming out. He had like a little journal. They saw this stuff. Everyone knew. Both these teenagers, both of them came from horrible, horrible homes. What I call, in my book, family dysfunction denial. FDD. Family dysfunction denial. Now, I did a podcast. Here's the book right here. See if I can do it. There it is. It's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle. I'm not trying to sell the book here, but I just want you to know, I've been doing some research on this stuff. I've been doing some research on this stuff for 13 years. 13 years I've been watching school shooters. I've been trying to figure this out. And for 13 years, I've been wondering, why aren't parents being held accountable? So I'm actually happy that in the last 4 or 5 years, parents are finally being held accountable. Now we've got this thing called teen takeovers. It's a big thing all over the place, teen takeovers. We had one down here in Tampa about a month and a half ago. Hundreds of kids running the streets, causing trouble. 22 were arrested, all under the age of 15. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. A 16-year-old was arrested on gun charges. I believe he did shoot at people. So now he's going to go to jail for attempted murder at 16. Where are the parents here? And it's not just Tampa. I'm not a big fan of Chicago, south side of Chicago. I think it's a mess up there. There's more shootings up there than anywhere else. No one talks about it. But when they happen up there, these teen takeovers, the city is saying, hey, parents, come get your kids and take care of, where's your curfew? What's going on? Because it's out of control. We're lucky there aren't more killings. As parents, we have failed with a capital F the last 20 plus years. We have failed them. We have failed society. We have failed our schools. We have failed every ounce of what it means to be a parent, especially a father. I'm calling out fathers. You got to step up. This doesn't mean you start beating your kid. I'm not advocating for violence towards your kid. I'm telling you that you have to step up and get in their business. Figure it out. Take away the phone. Take away the computer. Don't let them go out until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. We just had 4 kids, excuse me, down here in Florida from Washington, D.C. They came down for basketball tournaments all over the internet. And over in Polk County, which is about maybe 45 minutes east of where I am right now, Sheriff Grady Judd, you've probably heard of him all over the country. He's been on Fox. He's been all over the place. He doesn't take anything from anybody. These 4 kids come down here for a basketball tournament. 4 o'clock in the morning, they decided to go out of the hotel, go down to a 7-Eleven, and bum rush, as he called it, bum rush the attendant there at 7-Eleven, started stealing stuff. So they all got arrested. Well, then their coach came down, who was 27. He denies knowing these kids. So he gets arrested for lying to law enforcement. This is the attitude of young people today. Lie, cheat, steal, shoot, kill. We had another girl down here a couple of years ago, 13 years old. And she was walking home with, there's 8th grade. She was walking up with another kid. I'm not going to say his name either because I just don't want to promote these kids, but you can look it up. This boy took a knife and stabbed this little girl 114 times and then drug her body off into the woods and went home, tried to cover it up. When I heard that story, I said, let's look at the family. And sure enough, dad's always in trouble. Mom's kind of doing her thing. A mess. So it's not just guns, folks. If someone wants to hurt someone, they will use whatever they can. A knife. I watched a documentary tonight on the college killings in Idaho. This crazy, sick Brian, I can't even pronounce his last name. He looks like a complete demon. Goes in and kills 4 people, then takes off. The only way they found him was there was some DNA on a sheath for the knife. And then they tracked him down through some cool means with different videos, different things. Found him back at his home, his parents' home, Pennsylvania. They hung out until they dumped the trash, and they found DNA on Q-tips by his father, matched that DNA to what was on the knife, and said it can only be this kind of match. That's how they got him. A little bit of DNA. It was a knife. Killed 4 people. So all you anti-gun people, it has nothing to do with a gun. It has to do with the mind. It has to do with what kind of conditioning these kids have had, what kind of environment they've been in. Nature, nurture, if you will. If you're a psych person, you know that is it the environment that controls it, or is it DNA? What is it? I think in today's society, it's more environment. We have to step up as a society. We have to step up as fathers. We have to step up as community leaders. Schools cannot do it alone. They don't have enough money, resources, and quite frankly, their hands are kind of tied because what are they can get sued. The first parent that gets mad, they're going to sue the school. So, oh, don't do anything. We don't sue them. We have officers in schools. When I grew up in the 80s, we didn't have cops in schools just for coming to talk about career day or something, or maybe security at a football game, but they weren't stationed in the school. It is so ridiculous to me that we have law enforcement in our schools as young as elementary school. Elementary school. It doesn't make any sense. All of this, every bit of it, can be addressed in the home. I've said this for years, that lack of leadership in the home creates chaos in the streets. I've been saying it for 13 years. 13 years I've been fighting this fight. I've been screaming it. This book started in 2013, and I finished this a couple years ago. 10 years. 10 years. I got studies in here. I talk about real life stuff. I talk about, not just all the problems, but how do you change them? It's leadership, and I got it in here. And I know this because I've worked over 1,000 young people. I've just done hours and hours and hours with them. And I ask them, what are you missing? What are you needing? And you know what the number one thing was? Structure, leadership. That's where I came up with this. Kids today are starving for structure. And when there's only a one-parent home or 2 parents that aren't paying attention, whatever you might want to, however you want to call it, I call it PLAD, Parental Leadership Attention Deficit Disorder. And I came up with that back in 2014 because I was sick to death of all these stupid labels to justify bad behavior. The kids are performing. So I came up with PLAD just to make a joke. I gave it a definition, and I started using it. And I got addressed one day at a talk at a community event, and they said, I'm a therapist. I think it was a therapist. I don't know where that's at in the DSM. Now, for those of you who don't know, the DSM is like the Holy Grail, the Bible, if you will, for mental health. Everything's in there, labels, definitions, everything under the sun. And I said, well, that's funny because it's not in the DSM because I made it up. Oh, well, who are you to make this up? I can do whatever I want, but I made it up to make a point that you can make up anything, put a label on it, and now it's a thing. But the more I started looking at it, I was like, parental leadership attention deficit disorder. And we can see it in Walmart. We can see it in other grocery stores. We can see it at the movie theater. We can see it in restaurants. We see it in schools. Parents are not paying attention to their own kids. And as a result, we now have dead students, dead faculty in 2 different states, and parents now in prison. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, folks. We have a new school year starting in just a few weeks. Actually, some private schools started Monday down here in Florida. The 13th of August, school starts back up here in Florida. I'm sure it's going to start up very close to around the country. So the question is, are we going to continue to do the same thing year after year after year? Or are we finally going to step up and say, you know what, let's make this school year not only really good academically, but let's go no school shootings. Because I guarantee you, come September, maybe early October, somebody somewhere is going to do something already. It's going to happen. Because there's parents out there right now that would rather fight and argue and put their head in the sand and be what I call manager-style parents and enable bad behavior, look away, allow bad behavior, than actually look in the mirror and say, I could stop this. Because I guarantee you that Colin Gray, this dad, I bet you he looks in the mirror now and says, this didn't have to be my life. This didn't have to be my son's life. It didn't have to be 4 dead people. And I'm guessing the parents in Michigan say the same thing. Because they were narcissistic. It was all about them. They didn't care about their kid. They didn't care about their school. They didn't care about society. It was about their drugs, their drinking, their own crap. If you have that type of thing going on, get help, for God's sakes. Go to AA. Go to somebody to get some help to get your butt off drugs and alcohol so you can be an actual parent and an actual leader to your kids, so that we don't have more school shootings because kids are so messed up and feel neglected and feel like the only way to be heard is to kill and hurt other people. It's what it is. All right. I'm going to end it right there. Any comments, questions, please reach out to me at leadyourteen@gmail.com. Yeah, I got fired up on this one. But you know what? We need to. Because I'm tired of hearing about dead kids and parents going, well, I don't know what happened. Hi, not my kid. I had no idea. Well, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. All right. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. See you real soon.